Hello, ladies, do you like dressing up in red? Do you like slapping white grease paint on your face so thickly that no one can tell how old you are? Most of the time. When you were a kid, when you were a teenager, did you harbour ideas that you were going to be a nun and no one was going to stop you? Do you like frightening children? Does thinking about the problems of the world, all the complicated stuff that is, does that make your head hurt? And do you wish you could have a simple answer to everything? Well, look no further than Extinction Rebellion. They have the answer to everything in just one. Stop oil, stop industry, and everything will be absolutely peachy in the world, and it'll all be butterflies and rainbows. Admittedly, it isn't a very coherent philosophy and it certainly won't work, but who cares when you can identify deep down as a saviour of the planet by just parading around a church singing. Yeah, but before I get further on to that, my name's Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. I'm also on Twitter and Gab, which is where I tell you about new uploads. All the links are in the description. Also, the links to the donation channels if you wish to donate, whatever. But the best thing you can do is like this video, share it and subscribe. And remember, if you're on YouTube, just check you are still subscribed. Right, back to Extinction Rebellion. Look, I hate to seem like I'm stereotyping. Well, but I am, because just look at these people. They all seem to come from a particular demographic, don't they? Both the high priestesses and their acolytes. Now, I'd like to tell you what they're singing about. It's obviously doom and gloom, but I can't make out most of what they're saying until the end, when there was a bit at the end when they said they want to be able to say to their children that they tried to do something. I didn't see any children there. In fact, it seems to me a lot of them probably, well, never got round to having children. Bad for the planet, isn't it? But if there were any children there, they'd all be in a state of traumatised catatonia with the ideas that these people are pushing. Parading around in bedsheets they dyed red, imitating the flagellants of the Middle Ages who thought they could stop the plague by moving en masse from town to town, whipping themselves. Yeah, that's a great idea, isn't it? You try and stop the plague by walking from one village to the other, releasing quite a lot of blood. That went well. It's just the same in this mindless parading. But they also imitate the medieval in their apparent ignorance of history or geography or sociology. Come to that, like the flagellants. Instead of getting together and sitting down logically, many of them were monks, some of them would have been quite intelligent. Instead of trying to work out what was causing the pestilence and considering ways that they might prevent it, they just said, okay, this is a situation we have no control over. We'll say it's down to God and we'll do some hysterical hiking. That should sort it. Bringing us up to date, these people all got together to lament in the local cathedral with the cooperation, you might say, the blessing of the local priest, of course. Because that's what the church has turned into nowadays. Frightening kids and weird costumes. Well, they always did go for weird costumes, I suppose. And these people are all dressed up like something out of Edgar Allan Poe's Masque of the Red Death. And that's supposed to say something. Because the other stuff, the nitty-gritty stuff, requires just too much hands-on work. You know, stuff like a full-scale war in Eastern Europe with millions of displaced people, all of whom could do with some help or attention. And then we have old soldiers sleeping in shop doorways. Well, you know, going out and dealing with these people, getting them food, getting them clean. Oh, that's far too mucky and messy and they swear at you when they're drunk, and that's far too personal. No. And then we have social disintegration in our cities. Instead of parading around the church, why don't you try and get people into the church to give them some sort of moral anchors, to give them some sort of pushback to people who might not wish our society well. That's all I can say on YouTube. We've got an immigrant crisis and a crisis of integration. We have real problems of information with websites that attack our children, the very children that they say they want to be able to clean their consciences over. Children are being attacked constantly on the internet, being told to starve themselves, being told to sterilize themselves, being told to become other than themselves, or indeed being told to act irresponsibly or beat people up. And we have doctors who seem to be interested only in sterilizing our children. So if those guys actually had any, there wouldn't be any grandchildren out of them, that's for sure. Well, you know, this is what they're singing about. A hypothetical problem that we couldn't do anything about anyway, because it's China and India that's causing all the pollution, not this country. And instead of just sitting down and trying to work out the best way of dealing with whatever pollution we do have, why not do some voluntary recycling, for instance? No, parading around the church in silly sheets, dyed red, with silly makeup on your face, pretending to be some sort of a Vestal Virgin. Ha! Right. Well, what does it matter how they act? We're all going to burst into flames in the next 5 minutes anyway, aren't we? All right. Well, I'm Granniopteryx. Till next time, because I know there will be a next time. We're not going to burst into flames. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the Granniopteryx design or Granbo, with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.granniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.